With the summer blockbuster season coming to an end, we got a recent update about one of the movies that actually kicked off the summer that I think, much like most things from this cinematic universe and even this movie itself, will have quite a few fans a bit divided. Just this week, James Gunn has announced a release date for the sequel to this summer's Superman film, which will be July 9th, 2027. And I think that whether or not you like the film will probably determine how you feel about this upcoming sequel. For me personally, I have a few thoughts about it that I wanted to get into in this video. For starters, let me just say that I enjoyed the Superman movie. I actually did a review on it, so feel free to check that out for a more detailed review of it. But the short summary of it is there was a lot of things about it that I liked, a few things that I didn't like, and a couple creative decisions that I really didn't care for. But overall, I did enjoy the movie, and it felt like it created a solid foundation for this new DCU. So, with that said, I am happy with the news that a sequel is in the plans and that they seem to have some clear vision on how to go about it if the release date is already being announced. That side of the news to me is all positive, especially when you look at how long it's taken to get a date for the Batman sequel from Matt Reeves, which at the moment is actually also set to release in 2027. But where my concern comes in with this news is more with the opening lineup of movies that they have for this DCU. From what I understand, the opening lineup of movies for this DCU will look something like the Superman movie, which was obviously already released, followed by Supergirl, which will then be followed by Clayface, and I believe after that we'll get this Superman sequel, which will be titled Man of Tomorrow. Now, aside from the fact that the Clayface movie feels incredibly random, and I'm entirely unsure how they'll go about bringing that character into this universe ahead of any established Batman, it just feels like they're leaning a little too much into Superman and his cousin Supergirl at the start of this universe. With their powers being essentially the same overall, I worry that telling stories with beings that superpowered and that similar will get a little bit old for audiences given that it would be three of the first four movies. Now, I'm not saying that it can't work. You can definitely tell different stories with the characters, but I do worry that seeing the same set of powers on screen for 3 out of 4 movies might start to get a little boring for audiences. And I also just in general question why this choice. As a fan of DC and all their characters, there's so many more you could choose from to expand this film universe that I just can't help but wonder why lean so heavily this way instead of getting a little creative with some of their other well known and well loved characters. And I mean, again, I do want to make it known that I don't think this means it's an inherently bad plan or anything. I just don't really understand it. But with all that said, in a vacuum, the news that there's a release date is something that I think is positive for the universe. I did like the movie, as I said earlier, so from that standpoint, and from the perspective of just seemingly having some level of decisive direction, I think overall this is a positive update from the DCU. Now the question becomes how do all these movies play out on screen? And that's yet to be seen, so we'll just have to wait for that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be back again soon.